Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Bengal and Beyond. My name is Shravunti, and these are my co hosts, Misha, Mustafiz, Kazi, and Zishan is not here. So today is August 11th, 2024. The last 5 weeks have been a roller coaster for the people of Bangladesh. However, last Friday, I think it was, on August 7th, Professor Mohammed Yunus was sworn in as the chief of the interim government after the dramatic resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. 13 other members of the interim government were sworn in alongside Professor Yunus. There were three additional members of the cabinet who are unable to be there because they were out of town, but they will be sworn in, or I think they've already been sworn in. So I actually have a couple of words to say before we begin on the current state. During the last episode, we talked about how our parents may not have been completely truthful about the history. As far as I remember, and I did have a conversation with my father about Sheikh Mujib, he had told me that by 1975, a lot of the people who were like him, who were, Mukti Juddha or, freedom fighters in their own right, were very disillusioned and disappointed with the Sheikh Mujib regime, and they felt let down by him. But this is another thing I think we have a history of doing. We either deify people, or we put them on a pedestal, they can do no wrong, or we tear them down and leave them with like zero dignity. And so I'd like to put it to you that Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is in fact a Bangabandhu. He is a friend of Bengal. He went to jail for his people. He mobilized his people. He fought for his people. Unfortunately, he was not able to be the head of state that Bangladesh needed at the time. That does not mean that he did not contribute to Bangladesh and the Bangladeshi people. I'm saying this because we can all have our perspectives on what's true and what's not true. But I think what's more important is that really trying to be mindful of the fact that two truths can be totally different, but also true. So, Misha, do you want to talk about some of the things that you...
Sure. So I think last week I mentioned a lot of the reasons that Sheikh Mujib, a lot of the negatives about Sheikh Mujib, or a lot of the criticisms, and actually many of the things that were, let's say, used as an excuse for his assassination, very frankly. I mean, J-Page Dekhism, all those things were listed as the reasons for his assassination. So I got some heat for saying a lot of negative things about him. So I'd just like to say, of course, we do believe, and I personally do believe, of course, he was an extremely important figure in our country's history, a pivotal figure, and that can't be ever taken away from him.
Right.
And so, but at the same time, as you said, Tushi, two truths can exist about a person, and a positive and a negative truth as well. So maybe I exaggerated somewhat in some of the comments I made. For example, maybe he was not directly responsible for killing his political rivals. Yes, for sure. But it was, let's say, his policies or his people that were responsible for it. And so by looking the other way, after the fact, yes, he did do, there was, let's say, there's a reason to criticize that kind of behavior. But I want to end just by saying that, yeah, we can. He's still probably the greatest Bangladeshi that ever lived, and he'll always be tied to the birth of this country. So there's no way we can take that away from him. তাছাড়া আরো কয়েকটা আমরা ভুল করেছিলাম লাস্ট টাইম, যেগুলো আমি জাস্ট পয়েন্ট আউট করতে চাই। একটা হলো যে র্যাব was not formed by Sheikh Hasina, but actually was formed by Tariq Zia, BNP, and of course we know that's an equally oppressive, I think, regime to this one, had it been given a chance. An interesting point, which someone actually mentioned to me as well. When we look at Mujib and Hasina, Hasina was actually in power about 4 times as long as Sheikh Mujib, right? So Sheikh Mujib actually only had a very, very short reign. It was only 4 years until he was assassinated. So compared to when we look at Sheikh Hasina's regime, it's much, much shorter. And therefore, maybe all these things that we're also seeing are being amplified. But, it was like maybe only 6 months of Rokhi or something like that, instead of, let's say, 10 years of RAB oppression or police oppression, whatever you want to say. So, yeah, and the other, I think, mistake we made, there was a confusion about whether it was the People's Republic or the Islamic Republic of Bangladesh. And Bangladesh has never been an Islamic republic, although that has been proposed. And what did happen is in 88, the state religion was changed by Irshad to Islam, and it still exists as Islam today. I believe in 2014, Sheikh Hasina thought about removing it as the state religion, but that decision was, they decided not to do that in order to not instigate, let's say, religious riots,
Right.
etc. So, okay, with that, yeah,
Okay.
Kazi, over to you.
Hold on. So
Or
I
back to you
wait
too.
one second. I just have one more thing to say before I go to Kazi. Thanks so much, Misha, about for clarifying that for us. আমি বলতে চাই যে আর আমি বাংলায় কথা বলতে চেষ্টা করব. I am not like the best, but I will do my best. We are all going through some level of trauma, be it from the violence of the last few weeks, the exit of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, ex-Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, former, the impending doom that আমরা সবাই ভয় পাচ্ছি যে this is going to be a radical Muslim state, the death of a nation as we knew it. Let's face it, we are grieving a loss that we're never going to get back. These attacks on minorities, the things that are coming out about people being silenced and imprisoned, this is a lot. And no matter how much আমরা বলতে পারি দূর এগুলি তো বাংলাদেশে হয়, হ্যাঁ, but it's not normal, right, to live like this. And this is not about politics either. This is amader, like, I know a lot of people say, oh, tomra to gulshane tomader to gaye lagbe na. Of course amader gaye lagbe. Eta to amader desh, right? Whatever it is, we still feel something for this country. This is our country. So it is scary, and I'm really scared. But আমি একটা mental health counselor হয়ে আমি বলছি যে I have been getting through this trauma by talking to my friends, by dissenting with people respectfully, by openly having conversations, by taking pride. I mean, আমাদের বাচ্চাদেরকে দেখে আমার এত ভালো লাগছে. And I know Kazi and Zishan, you have these stories of how there's vigilante justice and বাড়াবাড়ি করছে বাচ্চারা, ঠিক আছে, কিন্তু the neighborhood communities, the patrols, every area of Dhaka City has been on some level monitored by the community, which I'm sure you guys know is not an easy feat. And of course, there's still violence, and I can feel this simmering anger and fear and all around us. But আমাদের বিশ্বাস রাখতে হবে, right, in the good things. And I have to believe that I have some small ability. I have a small window at this point to at least speak my piece. It's really easy to assume the worst. And yes, I am also one of those very, like, look at the crappy side of life type of people. But I have never in my life seen a Bangladesh like this. And I know, like, I'm just saying, the drivers are starting to listen to the traffic authorities. Yes, they're scared because there are stories of students like hitting cars with lathis. But there's also the other side where communities, neighborhoods are saying, guys, we really need to bring the police back. We need to be welcoming. We need to be kind to them because they are also broken. And I think এটা আমাদের মনে রাখতে হবে, আমাদের পুরা দেশটা is like ধ্বংস. It broke. We've broken, right? And while I think it's shameful that we have to protect our minority communities in the first place, that shouldn't even have to be a thing. I would also like to say that in a country that has lost lives, lost a huge chunk of their history, have been repressed for over 15 years by not having the freedom to disagree or dissent, I'm saying take courage in the good things so that you yourself can contribute to the Bangladesh that you want. Find out how you can give back to this community. Find out how to get your voice heard. It doesn't have to be a big step, right? But we can do what we can. And if it doesn't work, then you'll know you gave it your all. But all I'm saying is don't give up, right? There is still hope for us. And I believe in this country. I want people to believe, not because I'm like, yeah, we're so amazing, but because this is it. If I mean, we can also change the flow and the way people think by putting our opinions out there, by talking to people, by being kind to people, by letting people talk to us. There's a reason why all these people are so angry. They've been dabafoud for years, right? I mean, even if you talk about Jamaat and Shibir and all of these things, Hifazat, they have been completely bottled up. And that's just, I mean, remember what people are saying about Hamas, right? That you're creating more Hamas by victimizing these people, right? So that is also a point I want to put out there, that this is not just like Bangladesh becoming a radical country. This was a significant part of our population that was effectively, for maybe good reason, um, villainized and really like just shoved into like a box, and that box got locked, right? I mean, I'm not saying that I personally was, you know, not unhappy with that, but it's not right, right? I mean, if we look at it from a perspective of democracy, that's not democracy. So, like I said, there's hope for us. And with that, Kazi, what
Yes.
do you have any responses to my over positive perspective?
Firstly, I mean, I think I want to speak in more Bangla, as opposed to or Banglish or whatever, because make it easier to get my point across, and at the same time, I think it'll be easier for everyone to understand. That's number one. Secondly, Huche, I am not being able to be all happy and excited about Shadin Bangladesh, for lots of reasons. We'll get into those topics when you moderate them in a bit. But for the time being, as far as my co-hosts are concerned, when compared to me, I will always look at the dark side of things. I am not until যেটা বলে যে যার শেষ ঠিক তার সব ঠিক. Okay, so until then, until I see একটা definitive একটা action হচ্ছে, when I see some kind of progress. Right now, just Thursday, people were sworn in, and it's just the first day of the week. Okay, what happened over the weekend? There was a lot of stuff that went on. I think there's a very big need of transparency, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't trust previous managements, whether Aam League by BNP or Ershad or whoever there was. Um, right now, I think it's a call for transparency more than anything. If আমাদের যদি আগায় যেতে হয়, okay. So
what do you mean
with
transparency?
Transparency in everything. Can I just say, for example, the caretaker governments, when they have ministerial meetings and things like that, I want transparency. I want live feeds. What's being discussed. Ekhane, now that আমাদের দুজন representative আছে, the student representatives who are the voice of the people. Okay, they need to be out there and find out exactly what জনগণের requirements are. And then that needs to be addressed in those sessions within the caretaker government. And I want to know what the outcome of that is before it's had a chance to be manipulated, customized, and then sent to the media. I want live feeds, because I don't trust anyone anymore. I don't trust anyone, especially the people of this country, especially not the people of this country. এই যে এর জন্যই বাংলায় বলতে হবে, এই দেশ যারা চালায় তাদেরকে বিশ্বাস করি না, দেশের মানুষকে বিশ্বাস করি, দেশ যারা চালায় তাদেরকে বিশ্বাস করি না। যারা চালায় আসছে তাদেরকে বিশ্বাস করতাম না, আর এখন যারা ঢুকতেছে কোনো আইডিয়া নাই ওদের চালানোর ক্যাপাসিটি কত, ওরা কিভাবে চালাবে, আর ওদের প্ল্যানটা কি। সো আমি এইটা নিয়ে, আমি অন্য কিছু নিয়ে, হ্যাঁ চলো আমরা লেটস টক অ্যাবাউট কারেন্ট সিচুয়েশন কি আছে, হাউ আমরা তুমি
কাজী তোমার স্টোরিটা বলো, কালকে তুমি ধানমন্ডিতে গিয়েছিলে।
Yeah, I mean, it's আমি ধানমন্ডি থেকে গেলাম, I left from গুলশান। গুলশানে কেউ সাহস পায়নি আমার গাড়িকে ধরার, বুঝছো, বিকজ আমি তো গুলশানের ওস্তাদ, like every other Gulshanite. The moment I crossed over, আমি সরি ব্র্যাকের সামনে ওখানে গেছি, আমাকে দুইটা ছেলে রাস্তায় থামায়, my driver was driving, থামায় বললো যে হ্যাঁ আমার গাড়ি চেক করবো। Initially I got upset because first of all they don't have that authority, okay, and
কি চেক
secondly
করতে চাইছে?
আমার গাড়ি চেক করতে চাইছে, ঠিক আছে,
মানে
গাড়ি চেক
সার্চ?
সার্চ করতে চাইছে। ইনিশিয়ালি আমি রাগ করতে গেছিলাম, বাট দেন আই থট আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, আমার তো লুকানোর কিছু নাই, চেক করুক, ঠিক আছে। এন্ড দেন তারপরে ওরা যখন হাঁটতেছে পিছনে, যে আমার গাড়ির লাঠিতে মানে ট্যাপ করলো অন দ্য বাম্পার, ড্রাইভারকে বললো এটা খুলে। who the hell gives them that right to touch my shit? Number one, ওকে, আমাকে যদি দেখে চোরের মতো মনে করে ডাক আনবে,
যাই বলো, পুলিশ কিন্তু কোনোদিন তোমার গাড়িতে ওইভাবে হাত দিত না, তোমাকে বলতো যে খোলো।
খুলেন, আপনারা খুলেন, ড্রাইভারকে
You guys are not women. You don't know what the police can do. I'm sorry. I have had policemen stop me while I'm buying. When I used to smoke, I used to buy cigarettes in the Chokor. আমার মনে আছে একটা পুলিশম্যান আমাকে
I'm not talking about stop. আমি বলছি একটা লাঠি নিয়ে একজনের গাড়িতে বাড়ি দেওয়া, লাঠি নিয়ে, that's your personal property.
Unless তোমার ড্রাইভার ডিসাইড করছে চলে যাবে, তখন হয়তো সামনে এসে একটা থামায়। But I've had instances like this when I was driving when I was young, মাদবুরি দেখলাম থাক পুলিশের সামনে থামবো না, সাথে সাথে বন্দুকটা রেস করতো, থেমে যেতাম, ওকে, আমার গাড়িতে কোনো সময় টাচ করতো না, ঠিক আছে ফাইন, ওটা বাড়ি দিল, I didn't say anything, I was about to get angry and then I thought, you know what, ঠিক আছে let them। ওরা দেখলো, খুঁজে টুজে, ড্রাইভার খুব সুন্দরভাবে বুঝে বললো যে এখানে খুলে, আমি খুলে দিচ্ছি, আপনারা বলেন কোনটা চেক করো, আমি খুলে দিচ্ছি। খুললো, এগ্রি করে বসার পর তারপরে এসে বলতে, আমি বললাম যে ঠিক আছে তোমরা যে আমাকে চেক করলা, আমাকে ভালোভাবে এসে বলো আঙ্কেল সরি আপনাকে থামাইছি, বাট সব ক্লিয়ার, আপনি যেতে পারেন। তখন আমি বললাম যে দ্যাটস গুড, তোমার ইউ ডুইং এ গুড জব। নাম্বার ওয়ান, তোমার আমার গাড়িতে হাত ধরার দরকার ছিল না, ঠিক আছে, ওকে, না নাহলে আপনার মানুষ থামে না। আই সেড ডিড উই স্টপ, আমরা থামছি? বলে হ্যাঁ থামছি। আমি জানলা খুলে বলছি যে হ্যাঁ চেক করো, বলে হ্যাঁ বলছি। তাহলে তুমি পিছনে যে আমার গাড়িতে ট্যাপ করলা কেন? Number one. Okay. Secondly, driver ঢুকার পর তারপরে immediately I thought সামনে someone's going to check me. So I asked them, তাহলে এখন সামনে যে ওই কি কোনো চেক পোস্ট আছে? বলে হ্যাঁ আঙ্কেল পুরো রাস্তার মধ্যে চেক পোস্ট আছে। I said okay, so তাহলে আবার আমাকে থামাবে? I need to be somewhere. আমাকে কিভাবে বলতে পারবো যে তোমরা চেক করছো and everything's okay? ও আচ্ছা, একটা কাগজ দেই। They gave me a little piece of paper, literally, let me show you. It was like this. ওই ইয়েতে বলে এরকম করে কেটে they wrote my license number and then একজনকে একটা সিগনেচার দিতে বলে এইটার সামনে যে দেখাবেন। I was like okay. All right, it was smaller than this.
হায়রে বাঙালি,
এইটা ছিল, এইটা all right, and then সামনে গেছি, সামনে যাওয়ার সময় তো এইটা বলার পর এইটা দিল, ড্রাইভার গেটস এন্ড হি ইজ পুটিং অন এ সিট বেল্ট। ওই পাশ থেকে আরেকটা ছেলে from nowhere, from the other side, ওই যে মস্কটা আছে যে, comes over, এই এটা থামাইছস? বলে হ্যাঁ চেক করছি, ঠিক আছে। Then he knocks on the window and says লাইসেন্স দেখান।
Oh my
to the
God.
driver.
এই একই জায়গায়, মানে
একই জায়গায়, I'm still waiting there. Okay, I got release, I got a piece of paper, then driver move করতেছে, ওই পাশ থেকে আরেকজন লাইসেন্স দেখাতে বল। Okay, তো ড্রাইভার লাইসেন্স দেখাবো, গাড়ির কাগজপত্র দেখান। হ্যাঁ, I said get at a scanner now. বলে স্ক্যানার মানে বুঝলাম না, আপনি এরকম বিহেভ করছেন। আমরা না তুমি স্ক্যানার নাও, তুমি পুলিশ ডিউটি করতে নামছো, রাইট? ট্রাফিক মানতেছো, করলাম, জিনিসপত্র দেখলা, তুমি এখন আমার গাড়ির কাগজপত্র দেবা, স্ক্যান করার সামনে, এখানে স্ক্যান করাই আছে, ইফ ইউ ওয়ান্ট দ্যাট রাইট স্ক্যান করো, স্ক্যান করে তারপরে বের করে দেখো গাড়ি অবৈধ নাকি না। তারপর বলে আপনার টিকিট নিছেন? হ্যাঁ টিকিট আছে। বলে ঠিক আছে যান। ওকে, সো হু গেভ দেম দ্যাট রাইট? Who gave them that right to check my documents?
Unfortunately, we did. In a very
they took that right.
They took it upon
right.
themselves.
Yeah,
they took it upon themselves.
Agent বলতেছি যেটা হয় is once you give anyone in Bangladesh a little bit
any kind of power,
any kind of power, then within a week or within 3 days they're already abusing it.
Yeah, they're
so,
gods.
I mean that's the sad reality, right?
And once again, let me এখানে তো মানুষ আবার উত্তেজিত হয়ে যায়। Let me tell the viewers, okay, it's not about why they stopped us. You need to be qualified to check my documents. You need to have the machinery to check my documents. You need to have the education. You don't have that. Okay, what you
Okay.
call class 10, 12 এর বাচ্চা, they don't have that education to see আমার গাড়ির মধ্যে fitness tax, what are the rules, what are the BTRC rules, they have no idea. Forget that part, ঠিক আছে, ওইটা হলো চুপচাপ করে পার হয়ে গেলাম। সামনে যে I met you, right? I met you at 5, Misha, didn't I?
Yeah, at 6.
Yeah.
Oh, 6, I think. Yeah.
6, whatever. So I wherever we were supposed to go, I got there at 4:30. I still have this kagoj on the way. 4:30, I just kept এটা বারবার করে দেখাইছি every single time they stopped me. They let me get to my destination by 4:30. I left Dhanmundi at 9:30. On the way back, they stopped me twice. All my driver had to do was show this. আমি কি ধানমন্ডি থেকে bombs ঢুকাই নিয়ে আসি নাই? Idiot. But this is just idiotic behavior as a result of power. Nothing else.
I mean,
তোমার গাড়ির লাইসেন্স প্লেট নাম্বারটা বলো না, নাহলে দেখবা তোমাকে টার্গেট করবে নেক্সট টাইম।
এটা তো সবাই
oh my
কমপ্লেইন করে।
God. You see
There was
how
a guy,
আমি অনেক
traumatized we are?
কমপ্লেইন দেখেছি, আজকে আর কালকে অনেক কমপ্লেইন দেখেছি।
Some guy
আচ্ছা,
parked
তো
to the
আমি
Delhi
এখানে
road
একটা কথা বলি,
হুম।
এখানে একটা কথা বলি।
হুম।
আমরা কিন্তু এই বাচ্চাদেরকে অনেক বেশি দায়িত্ব দিয়েছি। হ্যাঁ? এই
হুম।
বাচ্চারা কিন্তু whatever it is until the age of 22, 23,
Yeah.
হ্যাঁ, your brain's not fully developed.
Yeah.
Okay? The part of your brain that has common sense and does not react without thinking first, that part of your brain is like the frontal lobe. Well, I'm, obviously
Yeah.
not being fully factual, but you know what I mean. That part of your brain which contextualizes things, which makes you feel like, which puts things into context. Obviously, that's contextualizing. But what I was saying is that that part isn't fully formed. So these kids, that's why they went out on the streets. I mean, they don't have anything to lose because they have that sense. They don't have that sense of fear, that sense of what's it called? That sense of understanding that
there will be consequences to your action.
So ওরা কিন্তু যেটা করছে এখন, of course ওরা পাওয়ার পেয়ে আরো খুশি হয়ে যাচ্ছে because ওরা এত বড় একটা মুভমেন্ট করেছে। And yeah, I agree with you.
তুষি, তুমি বলছো স্টুডেন্টরা এত বড় মুভমেন্ট করছে, রাইট? স্টুডেন্টরা আমাদের দেশকে লিবারেশনটা দিছে, রাইট?
I don't agree with that. I think the students started it.
Let's get the back part. Forget the Scar movement to start with. Students.
Yeah, supposedly.
Students that were based, that were from the quota system, it went on to those students, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Class 10 ke upore, were they there?
No.
Okay. So class 12,
I don't think so.
Jara, the demographic.
He's saying that class 10 or 11 er students এখন নামছে to be
for what? Jara,
no, exactly. Quota is after university, right?
Yeah, those were university. Ora
That's not what they're talking about now.
ওরা ভাই আপনার গাড়িটা আমি চেক করতে চাচ্ছি বিকজ ট্রাফিক আইন তো এটা, আমি জাস্ট চেক করতে চাচ্ছি এই জিনিসটা আপনার আছে নাকি না। আমাকে ক্লাস 10 এর বাচ্চা বলবে কি ভাই আপনার ট্যাক্স টোকেন, আব্বা বলছিল একটা ট্যাক্স টোকেন গাড়ির জন্য করতে হয়, ওইটা কি আছে নাকি না? What are you doing? Are you just
দেখালেও জানবে কেমনে যে এটা ট্যাক্স টোকেন নাকি?
ও কিভাবে জানবে কোন পার্টটা দেখতে পায় চেক করতে? Is there a format? Is there a guideline?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not saying that this is a sustainable situation. I mean, definitely this is not what I want. Like, school kids like managing the traffic.
আজকে দেখতেছি যে পুলিশ তো এখনো নামে নাই রাস্তায়। আজকে বলতেছে যে if they're not back by Thursday বলে, then the government will assume that they don't want to work anymore. যেভাবে বলছে যে আমরা assume করবো যে তোমরা কাজ করতে পারো না, তাহলে তার মানে
okay, so what's the alternative?
They just said, oh, maybe we'd really like you to come in by Thursday or else we'll assume you're on vacation.
What is it? Isn't there a new chief of police?
Yes, but
and now they're
obviously nobody's gonna listen to him.
He's agreed, but the rest of them are like, hell no, we're not going out there.
Okay, এখন their first concern, আমি একটা পোস্ট দেখলাম where right now they're concerned about the 400 মানে যে কটা থানা ঠিক নষ্ট হয়ে গেছে ওগুলিকে আগে ঠিক করা, right? If that ওই থানাটা বানাইছে কে? থানা তো নিশ্চয়ই গভর্নমেন্ট কন্ট্রাক্টরস বানাইছেন এভরিথিং। এখানে তো পুলিশের থাকতে হবে না in the থানা, man. তুমি থানায় মেইন কয়জনকে রাখো? I'm pretty sure এক থানা has more than one person. There's management and there's people that are deployed on the field. So if field এর লোকজনদেরকে পাঠাও, আমাদের তো এখানে অলরেডি এস্টাবলিশ করা
হ্যাঁ
হয়েছে
কিন্তু
যে
বোঝো না চা খাবে কোথায়, চা সিঙ্গারা খাইতে
সেটাই
হবে তো,
সেটাই। এখন
বুঝছো?
তো টাকা, এখন তো তোমার
তুমি কি
রাস্তায়,
ভাবছো যে ওরা জাস্ট রাস্তায় সারাক্ষণ দাঁড়ায় থাকবে?
আর
নো।
এখন তো টাকা বানানোর
And
অপশন না,
even
you
then
Okay.
they could take temporary headquarters somewhere in an apartment or something. I mean, these are just,
yeah,
I feel like excuses, but
it's
um
excuses man,
হ্যাঁ,
and they
বাট
want
আমি যেটা বলছি তো এইটা হলো বিকজ শুনো, এটা তো একটা অ্যাকাউন্টেবিলিটির ব্যাপার আছে এখানে। হ্যাঁ, এখানে হলো স্টুডেন্ট গুলি পুলিশের সাথে ফার্স্টে গভর্নমেন্টের উপরে রাগ করেছে। There are two things here. Number one is that yes, it started as a quota movement, but what does the quota movement signify for all of us? What's the symbolicness? The quota movement is for Muktijuddhas and their grandchildren and their children. হ্যাঁ, this is effectively ensuring that people who are Awami League are always going to get those main jobs. Huh? So it does have a connection to corruption, which is what the
no,
students
but
no,
were
I think the
fighting
this
whole
is
thing
under
against.
is
the
about
premise,
corruption.
this is under the premise that
But
Awami League,
huh,
if the quota system was applied and everyone agreed to it, this is wrong for Awami League to assume that, right? Because already the whole country is pissed off at them. Next election, something might happen where BNP comes in or any other party comes in. The quota system will be there or will not be there, you know? It'll
right,
What do
benefit
you mean?
but I think it's the
Oh,
combination.
yeah,
It's a
sorry.
combination, I think, of everything that we've been through for the, I mean, they've been through, especially. I mean, চিন্তা করো, these students, এরা সবাই এখন
Who's
20
they?
বছর,
See, I don't
ওদের
think
পুরা
so. I
লাইফ,
think
ওদের পুরা life was under this regime where they couldn't speak their truth and they were too young to care then. Now, this is a generation that needs to speak its truth. That I believe, right? That
but
because
then,
I know, like I said in the last time, we have kids in this generation and we've taught them to
yeah,
speak their truth, right? So why are these kids are going to speak their truth regardless, okay? Whether or not they are obviously not ready to take on something of this side, like managing traffic. But I also think that the level of accountability they're showing is that, yes, we made the police, I mean, not we made the police bad guys. The police were bad guys. They were fighting us. So what we are doing now is we're taking the work that they're too scared to do because of our movement, and we are giving back to the city by managing that. Okay, that's the way I see it, because it is kind of taking accountability. The ঠিক আছে, আমরা পুলিশদেরকে ভয় দেখিয়ে পালায়, ওরা পালায় চলে গেছে, এখন আমরা আসছি temporarily until we figure something
আমরা
out.
কে, আমরা বাচ্চাদেরকে
The
পাঠাইতেছি, আমি আর
students,
তুমি গেছি নাকি? ও
আমি তো,
ওদের, ওকে।
হ্যাঁ সেটাই তো বলছি, স্টুডেন্টসরাই তো বলেছে যে আমরা, ওরা তো নিজেদের থেকেই করেছে। It's not like anyone asked them, and yes, they're not
তাহলে
qualified. হ্যাঁ,
তাহলে তাহলে যদি স্টুডেন্টরা বলে হ্যাঁ, we're going to take care of the traffic problems, checking the cars, making sure nothing illegal passes between districts and things like that, making sure everyone movement কি হচ্ছে, ঘুষে পাট্টরে দেখতেছি, making sure prices of good, all that is great, but there is more that needs to be addressed right now from the other members of the caretaker government about the financial system, about the education system, about our infrastructure, about resources. What there are different, like 27 departments of government that are the chief advisors in charge of. There are 27 faucets of society that make up this country, and it's not just this traffic system, right? So এখন there's security, there's protection, and eder machkhane, I think this will give you a segue into the next topic. Eder machkhane we have to deal with bloody joto rumors, jotor ajare kotha international community te, whether সত্যি অথবা মিথ্যা, তুমি কাউকে বিশ্বাস করতে পারো, সবার এজেন্ডা আছে। হ্যাঁ, আমেরিকা এটা করতেছে এই কারণের জন্য, ইন্ডিয়া এটা করতেছে এই কারণের জন্য, সবাই এখন আমাদের পাশার পিছনে লাগছে। খুব সিম্পল, ভেরি সিম্পল। সো আমরা কি খালি রোড ট্রাফিক আর রাস্তা ক্লিন আপ, পেইন্টিং অন দ্য ওয়ালস, জামাতে সাইনবোর্ড চেঞ্জ করা, এগুলি দেখবো? আই উড লাইক টু নো মোর আমাদের দেশের সিস্টেমের ব্যাপারে কি হচ্ছে, আমাদের দেশের সিস্টেমের ব্যাপারে কি হচ্ছে, পুলিশরা কখন আসতেছে, ওরা যদি দেরি করে ওইটার অল্টারনেটিভটা কি, এখানে বাইরে থেকে যে ইন্ডিয়ান রুমার্স করে ছাড়তেছে, কারা ছড়াইতেছে, ওদের এজেন্ডাটা কি, এখানে বাইরে যে ইভেন ডোমেস্টিক এখন কি নতুন একটা শুনলাম, হ্যাঁ, আই এম নট অ্যাফ্রেড টু সে ইট বিকজ এখানে সব জায়গায় ছড়ায় পড়তেছে, the ex-prime minister's son. Oh, sorry, not ex. According to facts, she still
He
hasn't
never signed a
resigned.
resignation.
Yeah, according to her son. So ঠিক আছে, ওইটাও assume করলাম। 15th of August একজনের ডেথ অ্যানিভার্সারি আসতেছে, আরেকজনের বার্থডে আসতেছে। 15th of August রুমার আমাদের ম্যাডাম ফিরত আসবে, আর at the same time খালেদা আপাতত অলরেডি ঘরের ভিতরে
Oh my
ঢুকে গেছে।
God, আমার এই ছেলে মানুষটা মনেও নাই that the birthday was on the same day. I mean, because apparently the actual birthday is not that day.
It's not
right?
that day, but এটা তো আছে। So
Yes.
someone's and এখন এতদিন পর মানে খালেদা জিয়া জেল থেকে বাঁচা আসছে, একটা কেক কাটবে না, তাই না? What do you say? কাটতে তো হবে, রাইট? সো বাকি এসব ওই আমি তো চিন্তা করতেছি ম্যান, 16 তারিখে কি হবে, 15 তারিখে কি হবে,
15 তারিখে কি হবে? আবার তো it's going to be mass
কি
riot,
হবে?
obviously.
Exactly.
আর কি হবে?
So that's
BNP already বলছে they're getting prepared. জয় তো বলছে কি জানি হাসিনা, আমাদের ex prime minister is going to, sorry, our Sheikh Hasina is coming back. She's coming. ফিরবেন বাংলাদেশে। You think খালেদা জিয়া ওরা একসাথে বসে? I have আমার একটা family event I have one picture of Sheikh Hasina and Khaleda Zia sitting together in the front seat at the pier of a family friend of ours.
Yeah.
Family of ours.
That's a very famous picture.
That's a very famous picture. That's from one of my relatives' weddings.
Of the two ladies.
Of the two sitting together, huh? So that we're not in that scenario anymore. You understand? We're not that okay, you're a political leader, I'm a political leader. But
think about it, geopolitics wise, কোনো দেশে কিন্তু এই level of political camaraderie with the rivalry is it's কোনো দেশে হচ্ছে না। আমেরিকাতে for the first time, Joe Biden আর Donald Trump-এর যখন they had their first debate, ওরা হাতও shake করে নাই। That usually doesn't happen. There's some semblance of bhodrota that all of these politicians maintain. That has gone away in the last 20 years. Right? Because a lot of these people started the country together, remember? So that generation has a lot of mutual respect for one another, which has over time been corroded by the corruption and
by the corruption, by the other party members, and also by society in general. Okay.
Absolutely. And also by the media and by online media and social media and having two truths. Now there's always two truths, and you follow the truth that you want to believe, and that truth will always be out there for you to find. Some conspiracy theories exist about something.
That's the algorithm, apparently, Misha. Apparently, that's the algorithm. That if you start liking, say if there are basically two factions, and you start talking about one person a bit too much, or start looking, that's the information that they're going to provide you only, right? So whatever you search continuously is considered your regular search thing.
And that's why it really scares me. Even when I look at something like fishing, then it'll keep showing me videos of fish, for example, Facebook, right? Or I'll just randomly want to look at for some topic, and it just feeds you the same thing over and over and over.
So, and whether it's true or not, that doesn't matter. Whether it's false or fake, or that information is fed to you. It's fed to you. So similarly, এখন লোকজন যদি type in করে Bangladesh riots and just types in Muslim, it could be like Muslims are guarding all the temples along with their other religious brothers. That's what we saw, but it could also mean that বাইরে যেটা দেখবে ওরা ওইভাবে divert করে দিবে that Muslims are rioting in Bangladesh against Hindus. Right. So it's all
this is actually so what should we, I think so this is actually the topic that we're going to talk about in the part 2 of this episode. So I guess we can just wrap this up, and unless you guys have any closing statements or closing points or things that you'd like to say, I guess Zishan's not going to make it. Shocker. So a episode to amra ekhon let's end it and start the part 2 where we will discuss, I guess, international narratives, propaganda, and how we navigate these narratives and be true to ourselves, and also understand what our fears are for the future, right? What we have to be vigilant against. So with that, let's say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in a bit for our part 2 of our podcast.
I just had to add a point to what you just said, basically along the same lines. That I think right now we need to not think or need to not make decisions through emotions. I think we need to make decisions very informed, do our research, and ask questions about what certain processes that should be, I mean, shared or made public, so that we can also voice our opinion. And now, since that there's social media, if we see something that's coming out that is not the right way to approach something, maybe even a simple Facebook post riles up and goes viral, and maybe that way whoever's in charge of that particular management or that particular sector can at least voice the public opinion. We have the option of making things viral, so let's try and do that and support the caretaker government that's there right now. Because just I have a feeling that if they fail, that's the end of Bangladesh. That's the end of Bangladesh, and we need to not be just tied down with all the. Think about what we need to do right now. Be straightforward and ask the right questions. Don't just be concerned about Ras age mural ta ঠিক করতেছি. And going back to what Misha said about the father of the nation, at the end of the day, I'm totally in agreement with Misha. At শেষ পর্যন্ত যেটা বোঝা যায় সেটা হচ্ছে he did what he did and liberated us. Whether he was on the field, whether he was fighting hand to hand, or whether his children looted the country, or whether his daughter reigned in a different way for the past 20 years, 25 years, and he only did 4 years. All that doesn't matter. Okay. At the end of the day, I have pictures that I'm going to keep for the rest of my life, where people are tearing down his monuments. I'm not Aumi League. What you call? I have not had any advantage via Aumi League or something. My businesses aren't related to Aumi League, but the desecration of a father of a nation just because of what his daughter has done. Come on, man. এইসব জিনিস একটু মাথায় ঢুকাইতে চেষ্টা করো মানুষ, বুঝছো? একটু মাথায় ঢুকাইতে চেষ্টা করো। Anyway, I'm sorry.
I agree. No, that's okay. Thank you for sharing that. Misha, do you have anything else to? Do you have anything else
I think
to share?
let's
Okay.
call it.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining me today, and try to keep the faith. Try to be positive. I understand that it's not looking amazing, but it's not looking terrible either. Let's just try to find a way forward, so that at least we can be a voice in what Bangladesh is, what it means to us. And we don't have to be the majority, but we still have to be represented. And I think the only way we can be represented is using this newfound freedom of speech to speak out, to protect our minorities, to protect our neighborhoods, and to protect our freedom. So with that being said, I guess I will see everyone for the next episode. Thank you for joining us.
One more thing, students, question everything. See ya.
Bye.